I don't know why I'm smiling, but listen to this. The top Mexican drug lord, known as El Chapo, escaped from a maximum security prison through a 1-mile tunnel that ran right underneath his cell. He went to take a shower, and he escaped through a small opening that went into the tunnel. And then, get this, he rode a motorcycle along the tunnel for a mile to get out to freedom. Incredible. This is the second time the guy's escaped. Joining us from Washington, Ambassador John Bolton. Mr. Ambassador, Donald Trump says if you can't keep the top cartel guy in prison, then Mexico should not receive any aid. What would you say to that?
Well, I think what we should be trying to do with Mexico is shore up its government so that it doesn't collapse to the drug cartels, as Guzman's second escape shows, I think, is very much in prospect, like Colombia and the drug cartels there, but even worse because Mexico is on our border. I don't see any reason to give Mexico economic assistance, but I think the kinds of plans that we had back in the Bush administration to try to prevent the drug cartels from intimidating the government and civil society are very much in our interest.
Do you think that there's a danger that drug cartels could, in fact, kind of take over or exert enormous influence on Mexico's government?
Well, I think they already are. You know, there was an incident 5 years ago. Hillary Clinton, when she was Secretary of State, said the situation in Mexico reminded her of Colombia 20 years before. The next day, Barack Obama came out and said, well, it doesn't remind him of Colombia. And I think the reason is that Obama has been trying to focus on American gun laws as the cause for the disturbances in Mexico, when in fact it's American demand for drugs and the drug cartel's ability to use American urban gangs to distribute their various drug commodities. I think if you look at the record, the number of people have been killed, well over 20,000 in the past 10 years, local city officials, members of the media, the police force corrupted, getting weapons from them. I think Mexico's in serious trouble. So yes, for our own safety's sake, would I rather fight the Mexican drug cartels in Mexico than here? Absolutely.
Okay, but you would not punish Mexico by saying no more aid now. You wouldn't do that, would you?
Well, look, I don't think there ought to be any economic assistance. I'm an alumnus of USAID. Mexico graduated from foreign aid decades ago, and yet the Obama administration has reinstituted it. I would cut that out. But in terms of aid to non-corrupt officials to try and work with the anti-drug authorities to deal with these cartels, as I say, I think it's in our own interest to do that.
Ambassador, before you go, I want to ask you about Iran. Looks like we might get a deal today. There is a midnight deadline after all. What are the odds that if we do get an announcement of a deal, what kind of a deal do you think it would be, and would it pass muster in Congress?
Well, I think it's going to be a wretched deal. I believe it's a diplomatic Waterloo for the United States. I think Obama can probably hold enough votes in the Senate to prevent the Congress from keeping the sanctions in place. But let's be clear, if he signs this deal, it's not just a matter of American sanctions. In the Security Council, we'll vote to lift those sanctions. Europe, Russia, China, and everybody else will release theirs. So even if the deal's opponents prevail in Congress, for the rest of the world, the sanctions are coming off sooner rather than later.
And once those sanctions are off, you can't reimpose them, can you?
I think it's almost impossible. I think the pressure on European governments in particular from their businesses that want deals in Tehran, from China that wants to exploit that Iranian oil, I think once we release this pressure, it's probably gone forever.
What a mess overseas, huh?
It is a mess.
I just don't see bright spots. I mean, Greek deal.
You're right. There are no
really
bright spots.
There's no bright spots out there. You know, I've been away for 2 weeks, had a glorious vacation. I come back on a Monday morning, and it's just like it was before I left. It's a total mess over there. No bright spots at all. I'll give you the last 20 seconds.
Well, it's not going to change for the next 18 months until we get a new president. The Obama view of the world is the less important, the less significant, the less intrusive, the less successful the United States is, the better chance for world peace. It's like looking at the world through the wrong end of a telescope.
Okay. Ambassador John Bolton, thanks as always for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.